Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
You don't think that's a problem? Whole ship's running on a computer's fancy. That'll make you nervous, Preacher?
No, Felix. The concept of a ship computer does not make me nervous. Are you scared of Ada?
I ain't scared of Ada.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
It's just, she's a computer, Max. What happens when her equations tell her to cut off her oxygen? Or blast us all into space?
Felix, Ada is not sentient. She can't act out of a sense of malice. Where do you get these ideas?
I was watching True Stories of Mechanical Murderers last night.
Felix, I find your purity refreshing.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I... May...
Hey, you. Looking for something? Where do you think you're going? Yeah. The captain said we might be getting a new recruit. That you, then?
Sounds like Clyde's jumping to conclusions, but yeah, I'm Felix.
You're on a first-name basis with Captain Harlow, huh? All right, go on through. Got my sights on you.
That machine stole my bits. Why do we even have one of these?
Been ages since we had a good haul. No freighters, no jobs.
Well, hey there, Hullhead. Clawed your way out of the groundbreaker at long last?
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, were you expecting me to say something? Maybe a long time no see, or a you've aged, old man? I thought you were dead. Or throwing yourself against the walls of some re-education center. It's been 5 years, Clyde. The best thing you can say is, hey there, Hullhead?
No, Felix. The best thing I can say to you is yet to come. Also, I'd like to have a word with your captain. So, you took Felix under your wing. Kept him busy. Good. Kid always needed a place to belong.
Felix will always have a place in this crew. He's family to us now.
Hear that, Clyde? I've been making something out of myself.
So long as you haven't been making a fool of yourself. I'm sure Felix has no end of stories to tell of your exploits together. I look forward to catching up with the boy. I'm working on something. Something big. Something the likes of which Halcyon has never seen. And I want Felix to be a part of my initiative. I'm fulfilling a promise I made to the boy, that one day, he and I would change the colony together. That day has finally arrived.
Easy there, Clyde. No one said nothing about throwing in with you. In case you didn't notice, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm not asking you to walk away from your captain, Felix. But neither should you allow yourself to be controlled by fear. Change is not to be feared. I brought you here because I want to know where Felix's loyalties lie. When the day of our revolution comes, I want to know that I can rely on him. I understand that Felix is part of your crew, at least for now. If the thought of losing him troubles you, then understand that you're helping him solve a problem for an old friend. I want you to deal with a traitor for me. Name's Trask. Kill him, and bring me proof of his death. His ring should do nicely. Ratted us out to the board. He's been an informant. Has been for years. When he realized I was onto him, he and his little cadre mutinied. Killed 5 of my own and tucked tail. I don't know where he's hiding, but his wife might. Rosanna. Lives on the groundbreaker last I checked. Rosanna knows my crew by name and face, but you're a stranger to her. She'll talk to you.
You think so? Maybe we should have a word with Trask. Get his side of the story first.
You'd be wasting your breath bandying words with that traitor. But if it makes you feel better, by all means. Remember, I want proof. Bring me his ring. I don't care if they... Here, my token. Think of this as my personal signature. Anyone who knows... Well enough. It's been a few years, but I still remember a thing or two. You had a chip on your shoulder. You'd argue over anything, and you'd never back down.
What do you mean, had? And for the record, you never could admit when you lost an argument.
You see what I had to deal with? Let's hear it. A revolution is the work of a lifetime, Captain. I've spent my life preparing for the day. Everything you see around you is the result of that preparation. A base of operations, loyal soldier. The skies around Scylla are curiously absent of patrol ships. It's almost as if the board's sphere of influence is shrinking. Besides, our facility is well armed and located on defensible terrain. If the board tries to lay siege to us, we'll make them pay. Not all revolutions involve bloodshed and fire, Captain. The purest act of rebellion is to live according to one's own means. One day, when the board is weak and Halcyon vulnerable, we may claim a piece of this system. Hardly. The board is rotting from the inside. Tomorrow, next year, a generation from now, eventually, entropy is the natural state of the universe, Captain. All systems inevitably dissolve. When that day comes to Halcyon, we will...
That was simultaneously the least scientific and most pompous statement I've heard in ages. Well done, Mr. Harlow.
A vicar? I admit, I never imagined a man of the cloth living the adventurer's life. You do keep some interesting company.
Good, you're back. Not that I missed you. I assure you, I am not capable of such emotional capacity. We've arrived at the groundbreaker.
Rizzo's mock apple cider. A hard cider for a hard life.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled
You mind trying to have a moment here? Yeah, I was called that once upon a day. You need something? Rufus and I are no longer on speaking terms. I don't know where he is, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. You're telling me you're on a first-name basis with Ms. Tennyson? Yeah, the promenade doesn't feel like I'm walking the surface of Tartarus. So that was you, huh? Rufus is hiding out in Emerald Vale. Got a few friends with him. That's as much as I know. Please, just make... That's right. Our marriage contract expired some months ago. And seeing how he's technically an outlaw, I wouldn't renew even if I... Precious little. He and Rufus worked together on the Groundbreaker some years back. A few years later, Rufus gets a message from an old friend. Something about starting a revolution, something about getting rich.
He must have been recruiting, gathering up his band of revolutionaries.
Word of advice, kid? Anybody carrying on about a revolution just wants to sell you something. I don't know Harlow. Never so much as bandied a word with the fellow. Only that Rufus is in a bad way. He came to see me a little ways back. Said he had to go into He was here to collect his personals, complain about Harlow to me, and say goodbye. And that... No, and he was particular about that. Said I was better off not getting entangled in his mess. Appreciate...
Want a punch? You got your punch right here.
Captain, if you're looking for crew members Ellie or Felix, they're sharing...
So then I says, fine, I'll pay you back for all of it. With interest.
Nice one. You must have had them quaking on their heels.
I mean, I wasn't really gonna do it. I just wanted to make him feel bad.
Pay you back with interest. I gotta remember that one.
Would have felt better if it had worked.
We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
What is it? Do you hear that? That low, pleasant hum of electricity? I would have paid my last 5 bits to see the look on Reed's face when the last lamp in town burnt out and the cannery fell to silence. My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear. Time's come to look toward the future. We'll grow, I expect. A lot of workers out there with nowhere else to go. I don't look forward to turning folk away. Camp's gotta stay pure, though. Can't have corporate loyalists mixing with us, no matter how desperate they may be. I I am curious. Why did you help us? You don't know who we are. You don't owe us a thing. The plant's crawling with mechanicals, so it stands to reason you risked your life. You're not quite like anyone else I've met. You haven't had your consciousness programmed by the board. You're welcome among us if you're ever so inclined.
Don't mess with us! I'm a good draw! Yeah, right hit!
I don't know who you are or why you're prowling around here, but I'm willing to make a guess. You're one of Harlow's gun hands, ain't you? He sent you after me. Right. You just stumbled into a camp full of armed strangers because you wanted directions. A favor, huh? Let me guess. He promised you some reward in the brave new world that was to come. Said he'd make you his lieutenant if you crossed me off? Thing is, you and I are at an impasse. Harlow wants me dead, and I've got no intention of dying. How do I know that I can trust you? Yeah, guess that's a fair point. Listen, I don't know what lies Harlow's dripped down your ear, but you'd be a fool to trust him. I never betrayed Harlow. Harlow betrayed all of us. The board's got him in their pocket, been paying him off for years. All that palaver about revolutions? It's a lie.
You're a real piece of work, Trask. Not just a turncoat, but a liar, too.
Go piss up a rope, kid. I've got nothing to prove to you. That's the whole truth. Harlow's just another board asset. A two-bit mercenary wearing a dissident's clothes. Yeah, I've got proof. There's always a paper trail when the board's involved. I chanced upon some correspondence between Harlow and his employer. I don't know that it makes a difference. What was I to do with that evidence? Bring it in front of the board? There's no authority in Halcyon willing to take Harlow to task. Huh. You ain't like other board agents I heard about. You got a functioning spine. You want to confront Harlow yourself? Be my guest. I hid my papers before Harlow chased me out. Back in the middle of the base, there's an old vent in a utility corridor. I stashed my evidence in that vent. Because he's for sale, anything the board can buy, the board will buy, and that includes loyalty. Harlow was a charismatic bastard, and he was ruthless. With Harlow in their pocket, the board had an informant, a pirate, a smuggler, and a gang leader all rolled up into one odious excuse for a human being. Sounds like a deal to me. Board-sanctioned piracy. Harlow went after the ships the board wanted destroyed, capturing anybody the board wanted captured. If we captured you, we'd ransom you. Harlow liked to do the job himself. Gather up the captives on his own ship, vanish for a couple of days. Only that's not what happened. Harlow's been selling his captives off to the board. I don't know where they ended up. Re-education, Tartarus, maybe worse. Take it you've made up. You gonna tell Harlow I'm dead? May as well. I'm never going back to that life again. Here, take the ring. And for what it's worth...
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
You aren't making a lick of sense, Max. Of course I got a self. I'm me, Felix Millstone.
No, that is just a story you've been building for yourself from a very young age.
There, see? You just said yourself. Yourself. Guess I got a self after all. Checkmate, preacher.
Semantics and nothing more. The construction of our language assumes the existence of a self.
Whoa, slow down. What's this about construction work?
Our language has all manner of paradoxes contained within it. Tell me, what happens to your lap when you stand up?
What are you talking about? Max, you've been acting real funny ever since you and that hermit sniffed all them drugs. Maybe you ought to ask Ellie to take a look at your head. Clyde Harlow, agent of the board. Yeah, that sounds even more insane out loud. Then again, Trask knew he was a dead man. Could have been trying to shift the blame. I've been trying to tell myself Clyde's got some sensible explanation for all this, but I just don't know. None of this is making a lick of sense to me right now. I think...
What's the word? So it is. Thus ends Rufus Trask. Once a sensible... I hope you never have to discover what it is like, Captain. The relief one feels when a mutiny...
Trask had some things to say about you, and I've got my own misgivings.
That's a damning accusation. Am I right to presume you have some evidence on hand? Those papers don't prove a thing. We've all done business with the board. They own the whole damn colony. Trask put you up to this. That miserable wretch. You've got a lot of nerve calling me a liar to my face. How should I know? What the hell do I care? Trask was a traitor. I didn't ask you to understand his motives. I asked you to cross him off.
Clyde, look me in the eye and tell me it's not true. Tell me, and I'll believe you.
Don't talk to me like I'm some common criminal, Felix. You're the one on trial, not me. I don't know what kind of poison that snake dripped in your ear, but as far as I'm concerned, you've been compromised.
Heads up! That's one down! Everyone all right?
What was that?
What was that? Here they come! We're the best there ever was! Jackass is incoming! Right there! That's a hurt! Gotta get down! Get down! Watch out, Captain! Everyone all right? Looks like we're doing this! Somebody's next! Boss! Right hand!
We make quite a team, my friend.
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Parvati to send Sam down to the bridge?
You think you don't hear it, but you don't feel it. But I know better. I just wish you could stick up for yourself. Come to see Sam? That was sweet of you. Here, I was just leaving. Hey, Captain. I got a thing I want to ask you. It's kind of big. I was thinking about what you said afore, after we went to the Lost Hope on the Groundbreaker. I reckon you're right. I think I'm ready to stop fretting and fussing, and I'm thinking of doing it here, on the ship. Oh gosh, do you think so? I just figured, you know, there's nowhere she can go on Groundbreaker where folks don't know her. Here, she can relax. I was kind of hoping you'd offer. The thing is, I can't ask her over like this. I mean, look at me. I'm all covered in engine grease and I ain't showered in nigh on a week. I smell like sweat most days and, well, don't look too close at my fingernails. I was thinking, hoping. I mean, only if you're not busy. Or when you're heading through Groundbreaker for something else. You don't gotta change plans on account of me. Anyhow, next time we dock in Groundbreaker, let me know.
Issuing sanitation ticket. Error! Refill printer paper. Thank you. Warning! Raptidon claws carry...
This is definitely not how I imagined it'd end. The void's black, water's wet, and Clyde hated the board. That's something I just knew. Now? I don't know. I don't know what to think. I've just got a lot on my mind right now. This is a lot to take in. I always looked up to Clyde. The thought that he could be an agent of the board is just abhorrent to me. I just hope I never turn out like that. Selling my soul for a fistful of bits. Thanks for the vote of confidence, boss. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna be mulling over this whole mess for a couple of days. Part of me wishes we'd put Trask in the ground. But, you know, I think that's just my frustration talking. Thanks for your time, boss.
Destination reached. The Groundbreaker. Remember that you...
Rizzo's Knock You Out Bar. A CCN 76.
If you're here for this week's magazine club meeting... I think I got just the thing, my dear. A few years back, Auntie Cleo's put out a home makeover kit, and I snagged a couple for myself. High-grade shampoo and conditioner, scrubby brush, and
What's the scrubby brush for?
cleaning around your nails, sweetheart. Gets the engine grease out. Makes your hands soft. Most folk don't got the time. Or bathtubs for such, me included. I'll let you have one on clearance. You want rosish, mock apple and cinnamon, or refurbished ship?
Oh, gosh. We never talked about what kind of smells she likes. I think pretty much every spot on Groundbreaker just smells like old socks.
It comes down to what sort of intent you got. If I was looking to do a spy job over in engineering, I'd be safe with refurbished ship. Now, if I was a young thing trying to come on all precious-like, I'd probably go with rosish. But if I was doing it for my own self, I'd pick mock apples and cinnamon.
I guess you could eeny-miny-moe it?
Take your time, dear. A lady's scent says a lot about her. Take your time.
Groundbreaker's safe from melting to bits now. That's on account of how I never met her. I don't rightly know. She was in another division of the Spacer's Choice family. She worked in the Vale a few months, sorting the cannery. Her contract said any kids she had, expected or not, belonged to her office from the time of conception. It's sensible. Dad just fixed machines. She did some kind of crazy math, high-level stuff.
Routing through the backup relay has saved us a mess of trouble. Thanks to you, the auxiliary will handle the signal load when the primary...
Be seeing you, stranger.
Suppose it's time to reevaluate my career.
Smell that fresh air? Almost better than being outside. What do you need, Captain?
C&P Borsworth. It's not the worst unless it's Borsworth.
It's almost time for today's episode.
Captain?
I'll just wrap that up for you, since it's for a special occasion.
I'll pay for that, ma'am.
You're welcome. Anytime.
I hope this fancy soap we got is extra strength. I'm feeling a mite ripe. Oh, thanks, Captain. I'm gonna put these someplace safe. In her messages, Junlei said her mama used to make this dish for Monarch. Dustback casserole. Saltuna and Xenogold. And then for dessert, there's a thing called, sweetheart cake. There's gotta be some place in Stellar Bay that can bake a casserole. And I heard tell there's a Rizzo's town near there called Cascadia, what specializes in sweets. Thanks, Captain. I know I'm asking an awful lot, but I'm sure it's gonna be worth it.
Rizzo's Berry Punch. A salt flour candy soft around a sweet purple berry flavored center.
I believe I hear Felix and Parvati discussing the latest Aetherwave serial.
You watching the Aetherwaves last night? Halcyon Helen finally took down the chief of the Savages, with a guest appearance from none other than the Masked Marketeer!
Oh gosh, I wish he'd waited for me. I wanted to see that too.
We are now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills.